Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining our second session on Yoga for the Mind. Just a very warm welcome to everybody. And today our session is actually going to cover decluttering the mind. First of all, I just want to thank you for joining and explain that at one point, a fair number of us actually met through some of our charity activities, and that included supporting some of the charities that teach meditation. And as a team, we have found that extremely useful. We also incorporate meditation in our daily routine whilst in the office through something called traffic control for the mind. And this is where we essentially down everything for a couple of minutes and just go internally and see what's happening with our thoughts and feelings and change them to be positive and powerful for the next 58 minutes of the following hour. So we found this very helpful, and particularly at this time, there are so many challenges happening. We wanted to share our experience of meditation with all our friends, our clients, our colleagues, and partners. So hopefully you can benefit from this. Today, the session actually is going to be conducted by Aruna Ladva. She's somebody I've known for almost 40 years. She was started to meditate and learn about spirituality at a very young age, of actually eight years old. And she basically is a spiritual author. She's also a well-known spiritual blogger. She actually blends her knowledge and experience of East and West to then bring meditation within that context. And I'm very, very happy to actually present Aruna Ladva today to conduct our session. At the end of the session, we'll ask you to give us some feedback so we can continuously improve this because we will continue to do this for the foreseeable future. So very warm welcome to you, Aruna. I'd like to hand over to you to conduct today's session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone who's organized this. So we say Om Shanti. Om Shanti is a greeting of peace, and it simply means that I am peace and you are peace. And as I greet you with that peace, I remind you that you are also a peaceful being. So this is our initial greeting of peace. And so today's topic that I've taken up or been asked to take up is decluttering the mind. And it's to do with this very important power, which is one of the 8 Raj Yoga powers, which is the power to pack up. So before I get into decluttering the mind, let me just talk about what it means to declutter. Let me talk about what it means to pack up the mind. So basically, when you're traveling, what do you need to do? You need to discriminate. You need to make sure that you have the right things for the right trip, the right journey. And if you decide to take your bathroom sink with you, that's not going to work. You're going to be charged excess luggage. And so we need to be very clear. We need to discriminate very clearly about what it is we want to pack away in the suitcase of the soul. And this is why we need the power to discriminate, because we need to know, firstly, what is useful and what is not. What is beneficial and what is not, what is important and what is not, what is of purpose and what is not. Because if I'm constantly just taking in everything like a sponge, then I will have a breakdown or I will collapse because it's just overwhelming. I just cannot deal with all this information about everything and everyone. And so at some point I will need to decide and say, okay, now this or this, and really to create very clear guidelines for myself. That's why they give us these strict guidelines for the suitcases. It has to be this measurement, it has to be this weight, depending on which airline, or it has to be 2 pieces and not 3-4 pieces. So in the same way, we have to create very clear guidelines, very clear boundaries for ourselves in terms of how it is that we want to live our life and what I want to take in, what I don't want to take in, what I also want to get rid of. And this is where we come to in terms of decluttering the mind. So imagine when, or if you've ever been overweight, it's not very pleasant to carry around this heavy weight. And so imagine the times when you've been overwhelmed with what's in your mind and just too many things to do. Or imagine when there's very strong karmic accounts where you're really going through something very difficult and it seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So all these situations can make us feel very heavy, burdensome. And we use the word, I feel very heavy, or it's very difficult. We use this terminology. So what we need to learn to do is to say, okay, right now, in this moment, what is the most important thing I can do for myself? And that is really to be at peace with myself. So I start to create thoughts of peace. I'm a peaceful being. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be cool and calm. So I start just initiating some positive, powerful thoughts. From that place of calm, then I'm able to say, okay, I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm going to throw that. Even when we have to sort out our attic or basement or garage, we always say, I need the right time for that. You can't do that when you're busy. Now in the lockdown, I know a lot of people who are clearing out their wardrobes and their attics. So yeah, when we sit in meditation, when we have that quiet and that calm, then we're able to see very clearly in the screen of our mind what is important and what is not. So I'd like us to do a meditation in this regard now. And I'd like us to really, let's see if we can shed a few of those things that are not useful. And I don't even want to use the word throw them out, but we're going to learn to just set them aside and start giving attention to that which is very important. Okay, so let's just sit for a few moments in meditation. So for this, I'd just like you to sit comfortably. Try not to hold on to anything, even if it's a pen. Try not to have your fists clenched. Just sit comfortably, relaxed. Relax your shoulders. Put both your feet on the ground. And take a deep breath. So it is very good that I've taken this time for my meditation. Meditation allows me to look at my inner world of thoughts and feelings. And as I step away from action for a few moments, I'm able to fine-tune my mind and I'm able to synchronize it to the energy that I want to create in my outer world. So right now I'm going to create the energy of peace inside me. And that I will do by simply having a peaceful thought. So I'd like all of you now to just create a nice peaceful thought, whatever you think makes you peaceful. As you look at this picture in front of you, it's symbolic of the light, symbolic of the soul, symbolic of the aura, symbolic of the sun. And it's quite soothing. If you just focus in the center, then you feel those rays of peace and calm emanating from the center. But in your mind now, create an image that really calms you. So it can be a serene lake. It can just be a beautiful meadow, sunrise. Let's just start by getting creative, using the mind to just calm ourselves down. And now this energy should ripple all through your body, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. There should be that energy of peace rippling through, touching on every cell of your body. And this is how we create happy cells, a happy body. Happy body is a healthy body. And now we come to the mind. And I see a myriad of things in the mind. And perhaps I don't know where to start. But again, I urge you to just start with peace. Just become centered in the quality of peace. And this is a peace that is not absent of war. This is not just peace of nature, but this is an inner peace, an inner contentment. That I'm happy with the now moment. I don't want anything different in my now moment. This brings great peace, inner peace. And then with a little bit of courage, I start to see the things that are taking up my time and energy. Maybe it's a relationship or two. Maybe it's a habit or two. Maybe it's just my own laziness, my own carelessness. But I can see how my time is being eaten up in ways that I do not want. So these habits are not useful to me. So I speak to my mind with love. And I tell my mind that I now choose to focus on that which is of benefit to me. And that is my own sanity. There is a saying that do not allow others to rent a room in your mind for free. And so if I do want to remember people, let it be with the best of memories. Let me discard the negative by finding the positive. In every situation, there has to be a good outcome, a positive outcome, a lesson that is learned. And so the only way to forget the old and the negative is to find the best in the waste. So again, take time in meditation to find the best and just hold on to the best. And now I would like you to make a firm pledge, a firm commitment to yourself that you will not take on anything extra that is going to occupy the space in your mind that is not useful. So the pledge is, I only choose to take in the best. I only choose to give my attention to that which I want to give birth to. Every thought I create is an energy. And when I'm actually centered in my quality of peace, my quality of love, my quality of kindness, my quality of giving respect to myself and others, then I have very few thoughts. When I'm centered in my positive qualities, I think very little. Because when you think of peace, you don't have extra thoughts. You don't have extra waste thoughts. But if you think of something negative, it's never just one thought. So I choose now, I choose to stay positive. I choose to stay in my virtue. And so now I'd like you to end with now, I'd like you to choose one quality within yourself that you're going to give the water of attention to. Choose anything nice about you. I prefer that it was a quality and not a skill. But maybe you're a patient person. Maybe you're a caring person. Maybe you're a good listener. Maybe you're humble. Maybe you are naturally calm and peaceful. So just take that one quality, hold that in your attention for this week, and water it with that attention. In other words, just remember that you are that, and just try to be that with others. Just stay in silence for one moment. Thank you. So I just want to say that when we meditate, it's always drop by drop. It's not about doing the big things. Every day, just add a few minutes of meditation. You can begin by adding a few drops to the day, then a few drops to the morning, a few drops to the evening. Then you can add a few drops to your hour, every hour. And the idea is to just kind of maintain this calm and equilibrium state. Because at the end of the day, you will be happy with yourself.
Thank you very much, Aruna, for that. So I guess one of the questions I had really was, when we talk about decluttering, the house, the attic, our rooms, our offices, it's something we tend to do once in a while, right? But decluttering the mind feels like it's something we probably have to do on a regular basis. I'm also a practicing meditator for quite some years, particularly in the field of IT. I feel that a lot of things build up within the mind, not just on a daily basis, frankly, sometimes on an hourly basis. And how do you actually then declutter things and keep your focus on what is it that's most important? And this is where one of the practices I've learned is about traffic control. And traffic control for the mind, because this whole session actually was yoga for the mind. You know, we do a lot of physical exercise, we do physical yoga. One question I had really was about discipline and timings, because when we declutter our attics and our rooms and our offices, we tend to do that once in a while, right? It's not a very regular process.
Yeah.
But the mind, it seems, needs something much more frequent. So could you just talk a little bit about discipline and timing? How important is that to be able to learn how to declutter the mind so that it's always fresh, awake, creative?
Okay. So basically, I think, does anybody keep their rubbish in their house overnight? I don't think so. So every day we consciously throw out our garbage. And then every day we eat, every day we sleep. And if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be healthy. Well, we wouldn't be healthy, wealthy, and wise. So it's just so important to add meditation to our daily routine, because it's almost one of those most important and urgent things that's needed, especially in current times. I don't want to talk about the big C, but it's just so important to keep our calm amidst everything that is happening or what is to come. There's going to be other waves of challenges that we haven't even thought about. It's like that morning walk, it's like that morning exercise. You know, once you've got it in the morning, you're done for the day. So start with it in the morning. And then we have lots of other apps and tools that help you to just stop every hour, every few hours, where you can just check what's going on in your mind and, keep it on that positive track. But that's something that's got to come from inside of you. You've got to feel like, I really got to do this for myself. And but let me tell you, once you get a taste for it, it's very beautiful. It's very pleasant, and you cannot stop, as we have learned on this path.
Yeah. And you touched a little bit upon on the power of packing and power to merge. Can you just say a few words about that? Why is that important in this context, decluttering the mind?
Yeah, otherwise what happens is we carry stuff over from the past, and the past could be not only our childhood or past as in 10 years ago, but also actually stuff, if you believe in reincarnation, stuff that's carried over from previous lifetimes. And we never stop to look at it. And if we don't stop to look at it, then we will continue with the same patterns of thinking and being, which are not actually serving us. And that's why then we act in the same way, we create the same karmas, the same dramas, and then we wonder why we're suffering, or we wonder why this is happening to us. So if I there's a saying, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you always got. So we've got to find new ways of looking at things. And for that, I need to really pack away the old and make room for new, which is what we do in the house. If you want to bring in extra furniture, you have to throw out the old. So if I'm to bring in a new way of thinking, I've really got to discard the old way of thinking and make space, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay, that's very helpful. Physically, we can see clutter much easily. Walking around, it's easy to notice physically, this is clutter. I need to get rid of it. What does it take to see the clutter in the mind? What would you say are some of the signs that I do know there is clutter, I do need to declutter it?
Well, every time I lose my peace, every time I say something without wanting to say it. Well, we say, I didn't want to say it, but then who said it? If I didn't want to say it, then who's acting on my behalf? So every time I lose control, every time I become peaceless, these are signs and symptoms. Or just even, losing happiness. Suddenly I wake up and I'm in a mood. Where did that come from? So these are all signs and signals that something is not right inside. When you have a record playing, like in the old days, we used to have those gramophone records, okay? And if the record is playing, but at some point it gets stuck, then you hear the same lines again and again, or the same word, right? Like love, 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 right? And then you realize, well, something's not right. So with us too, we keep, sometimes complaining about the same things, criticizing the same things, or going on about the same thing. So this is a signal that something's not right. So I can't see it. To answer your question, I can't see it, but I can feel it.
Okay.
And that's why I have to address that feeling.
Yeah. Great. Aruna, thank you so much. That was a very helpful session. I hope people took some benefit, how to understand when you do need to clutter ourselves and what the simple process is. And please do actually take a moment to look at the feedback form on the YouTube channel, which you can populate and then tell us how we can improve future sessions. So once again, special thanks to Aruna for taking time for this.
Thank you so much.
I hope all of you will join our session next week as well. Look out for the information on the Onepoint oneness microsite. Okay, everybody, thank you. Have a good weekend ahead and hope to see you next week.